Hello everyone and welcome to LEAP Demo Day 2021. My name is Cosima Gill and I will moderate this event tonight. I'm a journalist and also reporter for ARD and WDR and working for several news outlets. And I'm very, very happy to be here on stage tonight and moderate this event for you. So some of you might know this event from previous years when it had a different name. It was called Challenge Demo Day. And some of you might have been here. And of course, we would have loved to welcome you all here tonight in Zurich. But due to the pandemic, that is not possible. But let's make the most out of it. We're going to introduce you to some amazing projects, which are going to show you how important collaboration is, especially collaboration in between different fields. And all the projects you are going to see are innovative projects, digital projects, and also sustainable projects. And first of all, I want to show you the roadmap for tonight. So we're going to talk to Stephanie Tauber and Guillaume Gabus, who organized today, and we're going to see how LEAP and the LEAP program developed within the last year. And afterwards, we're going to come to the highlight of the event today, and we're going to show you different pitchings from different projects in 3 different categories. The first category are called the launchers. The launchers are very new recent projects and we're going to hear how they actually started off. The second category are called the scalers. Those are projects with a certain track record and all of them are very exciting. And the third category is called Inspirers, and as the name says, we're gonna hope that you find a big inspiration, and those are projects with a certain result which we're gonna present you. And we also would love that you are going to participate today. You do have different options for participation. First of all, you might see a chat opportunity, and it would be great if you participate, if you ask questions, write your opinion about it in the chat. And my colleague Melanie, who's sitting behind the camera, so you can't see her, she will reply to all of your answers and to all of your messages. Also, you're gonna be able to vote for your favorite project within the second category, but I will explain all those details later for you. And if you want to share any thoughts or any inspiration or any quote on social media, it would be very cool if you use the hashtag digitalswitzerland, because then we could find your comment and maybe share it or comment on it as well. So it would be great if you participate in any way. We are happy to interact with you. But now let me introduce you to Stephanie Tauber and Guillaume Gabus on stage. You could do a virtual clap in the chat. Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Hi, Guillaume.
Hey.
We've all been tested negative, that's important to say. That's why we can sit here on stage together. So thank you for being here. And I think one question is very important. Today is called LEAP Demo Day 2021. Some of the audience might know it, but I'm sure not everyone. What is LEAP about? What does it mean?
Well, so LEAP is all about providing a neutral platform for different organizations to come together and collaboratively create solutions for the challenges that we're currently facing. So why we believe that such a platform like LEAP is necessary is, if you look at the current challenges we're facing, they're all extremely complex, extremely wicked, and we believe that in order to actually find creative solutions for them, we really need to bring different organizations with different capabilities together. And so how we do this with LEAP is really through a combination of research, of interviews with different thought leaders and industry and academia insights to then pick what we think is the most transversal challenges that actually brings different organizations together. We then create what we call our co-creation workshops to jointly create ideas on how we could co-create solutions for these challenges, and then as well provide the support for this entire innovation process journey. Yeah.
It sounds like an innovation process which you have created over the years with a lot of experience.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way.
That is absolutely correct. One can say there is not yet the one recipe out there.
But you do have the ingredients for it. Let's put it that way. But what sort of projects actually result from LEAP? Do you have any concrete examples?
Yeah, so basically there are 3 types of projects which result out of LEAP. The first one is what we call if you use LEAP as a platform to bring together different actors from the private and public sector, for example, for a campaign or a proposal for a research program. The second one is when organization comes together and just found a venture, a startup. And the third one, I think that's the most common one, is what we call movements. And those are usually associations. To give there a concrete example, the association is called Viva Digital. It fights against high blood pressure in the Swiss population, and it works on more than just one level. So, for example, they have a mobile app in which you can monitor your blood pressure, and with this data, they're able to give you a targeted prevention, so to speak. So you should eat better, or you should do just more sport. And last but not least, with that, you can have education campaigns for the Swiss population.
Those are already quite concrete examples, but what are you working on right now?
That's a good question. So we are working on 2 consortiums. Imagine a network of different projects, and with this network, we are able to really create the systemic impact we strive for. And the first one is in the domain of digital health. It's a digital health incubator. And the second one, we try to support different pathways for the decarbonization in Switzerland.
And what is your exact role in those projects? You've mentioned a lot about partners, but I'm sure you cannot be an expert on all the fields, from healthcare to, I don't know, ecological systems.
Luckily, we don't have to. This is why we work with experts. No, but so our role, I think easiest would be to say we are the connectors, the communicators, and the coordinators. So what we do is we leverage the Digital Switzerland network to connect different organizations from NGOs, cities, larger companies, etc. Then the communicators is really by using all these different communication channels that we have available as well with the public to communicate the innovation endeavors we're currently working on. Thereby creating and finding more supporters. And lastly, what we call the coordinators. So hereby very much liaising with other organizations and with management to find the right support. I can understand that this sounds, it's a completely multifaceted role that we have, and it's sometimes hard to actually grasp. So this is why we actually even came up with our own term, so the win-win architects.
Oh.
Very much looking or working on creating mutually beneficial scenarios for all the participating organizations. Yeah.
So if I may ask the win-win architects, where does the money come from for the projects? How are they financed? I'm sure you get that question a lot.
Oh yeah, we certainly do. And no, we absolutely see the funding part as an integral part for the further development of the program. So meaning we are looking into different possibilities, how we can actually offer a more efficient or easier manner to fund the project. Nevertheless, I mean, let's face it, all the projects you're about to see managed to start with nothing but in-kind investment. So it's very much about leveraging these different capabilities, that teamwork, and as well making the most out of the management support and buy-in in order to create a first MVP, a pilot, to prove that what you're trying to achieve is not just, I don't know, a pet project, but there's actually impact behind it. Yeah.
I'm sure we're going to see and feel a lot of from this motivation you were just mentioning tonight during the pitches. But what happens when a project is launched, for example? How do you keep on supporting those projects? We heard so far a lot about the actual beginning and how you bring everyone together.
So nothing brings together these projects like, or these organizations like a common challenge. And imagine you're facing with your organization a challenge which you either don't have the capabilities in-house to solve them, or the challenge is just too big for your organization alone. For example, high blood pressure. That's a huge challenge. And from here on, you have 2 possibilities. First one, you just come up to us directly, and will connect you with the network. And the second one is, as Stephanie said just before, you take part in one of these topical workshops. You co-define these transversal challenges with the participants, and from there on we try to launch these pilot projects.
And if I want to be a part of LEAP, because I have an idea on my own, I'm very interested in a project, how can I be a part of it? Do I just call you and say, hi, this is interesting?
Exactly. So we have our webpage, it's leap.digitalswitzerland.com. And on this webpage, you can really click on the projects, and there you usually have a button, contact us or contact me, and you can have directly contact with the projects.
And beforehand, you mentioned you kept on developing LEAP. So what's actually something you wanted to announce today? I think that's quite interesting for people who are interested in LEAP.
So that's the big announcement today. We are officially launching the LEAP Executive Training. That's a training we co-designed with the Entrepreneur School at the University of St. Gallen, exactly to bring in all these learnings we had the last couple of years, these ingredients, as you said, like bring them together in a 3-part module course in which you have lectures, you have also individual and team assignments, as well as individual coaching. So for all interested parties out there, to be eligible for this program, you need to fulfill 3 criteria. The first one is you need to be a Digital Switzerland member, because all the content is free. The second one is you apply as a team and not as an individual. And the third one is you also bring a transversal project to the table. And by transversal, I mean either you're working within your organization on one project which is across different departments, or you're already collaborating with another company.
And I think we can't mention it enough. If you're curious about it, for example, you could just write in the chat all your questions, and Melanie, our colleague, would reply to it. But we are in a certain time which is very difficult and which is very tough. I'm obviously talking about the pandemic, and that's why we are not sitting next to each other, but having a wall in between us. I'm wondering, how did project management change during the pandemic? What were your key learnings maybe? Was it even driving some innovation for your business?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I could talk about all the new hobbies we started. But I'm sure, I think, we've all been through it, the whole banana bread stuff. No,
which we just ate before the show.
True, though. I think there were like 2 major key learnings for us and for the program. One is definitely that we believe the future will be hybrid. So we believe that using the right mix between virtual and physical meetings and workshops can actually help to create a more, an easier access and integration of the different parts of Switzerland. I mean, yes, Rüstigraben still exists. As said beforehand, it takes a lot of intrinsic motivation for everyone involved in these projects. So having the possibility to have virtual workshops can actually help to create more of a work-life balance. And lastly, we believe that having, especially at the beginning, virtual workshops can help to work in a more efficient manner. So we're definitely gonna keep on, having these Zoom calls and workshops. And the second part is that we believe more than ever that a collaborative innovation is now extremely necessary, especially if you look at the challenges we're faced with. I mean, let's just take, for example, the vaccination passport. Yes, there's this complexity of who brings what capabilities, who is supposed to take which role. And of course, in order to actually be able and create this trust that is needed, we really need to work together, NGOs, NPOs, government, and private organizations, yeah.
There are definitely enough challenges to attack, but let's come to an end here. I would briefly like to ask you, and maybe you can try to keep that answer short.
Yeah.
What is your personal motivation or vision when you start working for LEAP every day? What drives you? Do you have some inspirational thought or quote you would share with us?
So, for me, it's actually the common success with the people we work with, within Digital Switzerland and with the other organizations. we are so lucky to meet so many brilliant people and even better ideas during our daily work, and then connecting these people, ideas and challenges to create something which has an impact, not just for me or for Digital Switzerland, but the Swiss economy and society generally. Yeah, that keeps me on going, yeah.
That's a good one. How about you?
You know, it's actually funny. A while ago, I had a look at my motivational letter for my master's at Imperial back in the day, and I realized that the vision I had then is actually the vision that we're having for LEAP. So to really offer this platform, this exchange for these extremely interrelated and interdependent challenges that we're facing, and thereby breaking down this antagonistic view of this is a good company, this is a bad company, but to see that there is the need for this transdisciplinary knowledge to then create visionary, bold ideas and jointly execute them. Yeah.
Okay, so collaboration is the key, as I heard. Thank you so much, Stephanie and Guillaume. We're going to come back to you later, but we're going to now start with our first category, which I mentioned beforehand. We call it the launchers. So those are projects which are at the very beginning from their journey. And the first one we're going to present you is called precision manufacturing. The idea is that there's a need for more automation in Swiss process industry. And if you're thinking about a Swiss process industry, you could discover, for example, the same production steps. So if you go from one company to another and you compare which production steps are going on, you might find some which are similar. Let's talk about a quality checkup, for example. And if you do have an automation process, you can save money, you can save time, and you can learn from each other. So that is the idea behind precision manufacturing, and we're going to learn more about it from Michael Breitfeld, Head of Process Optimization at Schweizer Salinen.
Hello, I'm Michael from Schweizer Salinen. At Schweizer Salinen, I'm in charge of the future automation of the process plant and the introduction of Industry 4.0 at future production processes. Today, I would like to present you the desire for an automation push for the Swiss process industry through collaboration within the industry. So what is the problem we are trying to solve? There's an acute need for more automation in the Swiss process industry. Most automation use cases that are implemented are highly tailored to the unique settings of the process plants. As such, most automations are custom solutions with high development costs and limited reproducibility. That said, there are indeed production steps in the process industry which are nearly identical for all manufacturers. For instance, quality assurance steps have to be undertaken regardless of the end product, whether this is sugar or whether this is salt. For the automation of such common production steps, different manufacturers can bundle their efforts to create cost-efficient and scalable solutions from which they all benefit. What are our goals and what are our milestones? Based on this notion, Schweizer Zucker, Schweizer Salinen and CSEM, a Swiss research and development company, have started a collaborative effort through the LEAP platform. Our aim is to jointly develop common automation use cases to strengthen Swiss manufacturing. On the basis of these use cases, the automation of process plants will be made more scalable and more cost-effective. Within this journey, we envision the following 3 milestones. First, piloting of highly scalable automation use cases that stand to benefit multiple manufacturers. Second, foster a dialogue between manufacturers tackling similar challenges in their factory automation. Third, a common catalog of automation use cases to facilitate inter-industry knowledge transfer. In an initial step, Schweizer Zucker, Schweizer Salinen and CSEM have decided to pilot a use case within the context of a control and inspection tour in process plants. Therein, we were guided by the following question. Which use cases exist that have such similarities that they can be employed in different factories using the same technology? Through a LEAP workshop, we have identified several such use cases, which we are currently exploring. Specifically, this would be first, condition detection of pipelines in the manufacturing facility. Second, acoustic and visual detection of process abnormalities. Third, estimation of filling levels of bulk material in storage halls or outside. Here, Schweizer Zucker and Schweizer Salinen have found a common need in measuring level of volume or level of storage for sugar and salt. What's the impact we are aiming for? We intend to leverage the LEAP ecosystem so that research and industry organizations as well as solution providers come together on the basis of concrete automation use cases, so that factories in Switzerland receive an automation boost. Are you interested in working with us? Reach out to the LEAP team or to me, Michael Breitfeld at Schweizer Salinen. Thank you and see you soon.
So that was already a very interesting first project within the category called Launchers, and we are now going to look at the second project within the category, which we are calling Agelab. And I mean, as you probably all know, we are facing a rapidly aging society within the next years. And that also means that we're going to have to look after more elderly people who need to be taken care of, who need a good healthcare system and good support. So if you're a relative and having an elderly family member, you might know how difficult it is to find the perfect fit, to find the perfect care for your elder family member. And that is a big burden. It's a burden for the family member and maybe also for the elderly person because they don't get the perfect care system if the relatives are overwhelmed. And it's also a burden for the healthcare system. As always, the key is collaboration and cooperation to find the right solution. And we're going to learn more about it from a project which we call Agelab. And it's going to be presented by Stefan Sala, designer and researcher with focus on living and housing in old age at Agelab and ZHDK.
Hello, my name is Stefan Zahner from Agelab. With the Agelab, we want to create people-centered solutions for an aging society. In 2050, about 1/4 of the Swiss resident population will be over 65, about 10% over 80. This will put much more strain on our aging organizations and systems than they already are. Dignified aging will become even more challenging. Do we think that we as Agelab solve such challenges better than the established organizations? No, we don't. But as Agelab, we can contribute with processes and methods from innovation and design disciplines to create innovative and human-centered solutions in collaboration with existing actors and with a fresh and new approach. A key challenge we have identified in our research is to get the appropriate help early in the confusing jungle of age-related care offers. If the existing care offers can reach the affected people earlier and more in line with their needs, outpatient care, for example, could be pursued much longer and costly inpatient care could be reduced. Or in other words, people can grow old longer in their own home instead of a nursing home. Our product, Better Aging Guide, aims to help people find suitable services in line with their specific context. Ruth, for example, lives in her own apartment. One day she falls and has to be taken to the hospital as an emergency case. Ruth's daughter, Julia, is now looking for a follow-up solution for the hospital stay, with the goal that her mother can return to her home as soon as possible. On Better Aging Guide, Julia is guided through a structured process that compiles suitable offers from existing service providers for her mother and links them. Better Aging Guide is not intended to create a new care offering. It is intended to support older people and their relatives in obtaining the most appropriate care to retain their independence for longer. It also connects existing players in their services so that they can coordinate their services and provide care more efficiently. Over the long term, Better Aging Guide, which is empowered by machine learning, will not only improve search and coordination, but also collect valuable data that helps to optimize the age-related care system, so that older people can live independently in their own homes for as long as possible. Thanks to the support of Accenture and Leap Digital Switzerland, we had the chance to further develop Better Aging Guide within the acceleration support. Next, we want to develop a prototype, conduct initial testing with it, and approach potential practice partners. The Agelab has design and consulting competencies. For the development of Better Aging Guide, we will seek support for the technical and data challenge. If you are interested, please reach out to the LEAP team or to myself, Stefan Zahler.
As you heard from the first two presentations, you can always reach out to them if you're interested to work with them together or collaborate in a different way. But we are now coming to our second category, which we're calling the scalers. So that are projects which already have a certain track record and which already are a few steps farther in their development. And now it's also your part to participate, because you can vote and you can choose your favorite project. Which project do you think is very inspiring? Which project do you want to see developing, and who did the best presentation? You can vote if you click on the ear on the website, and then you can see how the screen is showing up the option for voting, and the winner will receive 5,000 Swiss francs, and you can vote after each pitch, or you can also vote at the very end and take some time, but the voting process starts with the first pitch. We will show you each project with a brief film and afterwards a brief interview. And overall, this category is our longest category and will last about 30 minutes. Let's start with the very first project in that category, which is called Drakkensberg. I already love the name about this project. And what Drakkensberg is about, it's very interesting. If you ever had the idea to start your own company or your own startup, you might know how exhausting and how much work it is to register such a company. I know it, for example, because my sister started her own startup in Germany, and you could almost call it a bureaucratic war. And it's not much better in Switzerland. It takes ages. And this is exactly the problem which Drakkensberg wanted to solve, to just make this registration process way faster. And I think it's a great innovation, and maybe it helps people to actually start off their project and not resigning before even starting to register it. Let's find more out about it and start with the first video.
Ich gebe das gern, das ist der offizielle Handelsregisterauszug. Wir kommen nachher noch mit dem Original. Ganz kurz zur Welt. Heute stand, es braucht bis 4 bis 6 Wochen, um ein Schweizer Unternehmen zu gründen. Start-up haben diese Zeit nicht, die Schweiz hat diese Zeit nicht. Wir haben gesagt, das können wir schneller. 48 Stunden, um ein Start-up zu gründen in der Schweiz, das muss möglich sein. Und wir haben es jetzt gerade vorhin live gezeigt, wir schaffen es unter 3 Stunden. Um 3 Uhr kam die Jury und hat einen Namen ausgewählt, die Drakkensberg AG. Den Namen haben wir aus einer Liste von 4 vorgestellt und dann sind wir losgelaufen. Jetzt gerade Handelsregisterauszug und bitte morgen oder übermorgen schauen Sie im Sharp. Eintrag Drakkensberg AG im Sharp. 3 Stunden, weniger als 3 Stunden, digital, fast. Wir brauchten einen Velokurier. Warum? Originalunterschrift auf Papier für einzelne Formulare. Wir mussten immer noch mit einer nicht digitalen Beurkundung, mit der Vollmacht schaffen. Aber es geht. Und es war ganz klar, dass wir den aktuellen Rechtsraum ausnutzen müssen und nicht irgendwie auf der grünen Wiese. Wir haben es geschafft. Jetzt Wanted, ein Finanzierungspartner für Aufbau, Betrieb und Erweiterungen. Let's make it real for competitive Switzerland. Danke.
So hi, I'm Uli, I'm working with IBM.
My name is Diego Benz. I'm a lawyer and a notary based in Zug.
The whole project started with the finding that Switzerland is highly innovative, but the process to start a new company takes sometimes weeks.
Traditionally, you go to a notary, you sign documents, you have that documents stamped, right, and the paper will be sent to the commercial register. They will do a scan of it, then they have to tap in everything, all data, and then send this to the Federal Register in Bern, and then the information is coming back.
Bringing all the stakeholders together in one room. And Diego, you might still remember this.
That was for me a bit, an eye-opener, because it was really like, okay, I see. That's a difficulty for the bank. It's not only KYC, right? Or, for the commercial register. When you do that again, what I'm doing, right? This is ridiculous. Also from the technology side, we had to explain the IT people, no, look, incorporation works like this, and this is the approach from the notary, but the approach from the entrepreneur is maybe a bit different, and the bank also has a complete different view on it, and to combine all these things, that was it was very hard in the beginning, and then it was just fantastic how it went, right?
The first highlight was in 2018, April 2018, this live fire drill of incorporating the Drakkensberg AG in below 2 hours, including money transfer, opening the bank account, and so on. Since then, the highlights are that we were able to grow the ecosystem with more partners also on the front end, also with the notaries. We are now talking with other cantons. So the whole ecosystem is growing. And I think that's a fantastic sign that our idea is valuable. And the third milestone that I would mention here is that we now have over 60 companies registered in the canton of Zug via this digital process. So the future now is getting out of the pilot system. I think it's really about the cantons and notaries. We are looking for more banks.
Also interesting would be further automation documentation providers. My dream is that any software provider which helps a notary or a lawyer to draft documents for the incorporation just could dock to our system, and we could also use that.
Simply reach out either to Diego or myself or to any one of the partners. We have a homepage, drakkensberg.ch. Just reach out to us, and we are very happy to engage.
And we are now coming to the second project within that category, which is called 4TDLT. You're probably wondering, okay, what is that name about? So was any of your passports ever hacked, or did you ever have a problem with hackers? I certainly did, especially with a password. And I'm wondering if you were ever worried when you transferred information through the internet, whether you chose a secure way to transfer those information. And if you ask yourself those questions, this is a very interesting project for you, because it's aiming to make customers feel more secure when they're transferring information. So let's take a closer look with an introduction video.
We live in a time in which there seem to be no limits. We learn about the world from the internet. We share our lives online with the people around us. Shopping, paying, controlling light is easier today than it ever was. But there are limits. Data can be copied, changed, or stolen. Fake news, cyber risks, Illegal copies are eroding our trust. It is unimaginable to trust the internet with valuable information like your own home, or even to transfer property over the internet. Security and trust are provided by distributed ledger technology, DLT. All digital information is written into a digital ledger. The information is stored in multiple copies, distributed over multiple secure locations. This makes the information on the DLT unique, unchangeable, and transferable. Digital information can be held and transferred like a coin. The transfer and record of the transaction is secure and precise. It doesn't matter whether this information is the copyright of a video, a share, or represents a physical asset like gold. We want to have the freedom to use this technology to hold and directly transfer digital assets. The freedom as an owner to be able to transfer ownership of digital assets, such as a share, peer-to-peer, without the endorsement or interference of third parties. This requires, apart from technology, a secure basis, specifically embedding the technology in a trustworthy legal system. Trust is the quality that Switzerland has always represented. Trustworthy information, as forgery-proof as a Swiss banknote. Trustworthy transactions, as reliable as a Swiss clock. Trustworthy custody of your most valued assets. Switzerland stands for innovative solutions. It has always been a pioneer for the future. Now it's our turn. Let's build the foundation for the freedom and economy of tomorrow. We are ready. Join us.
My name is Dominic Vincenz. I work in the fintech team at Swisscom, where we are responsible to bring innovation to Swisscom and create growth outside of the core business.
My name is Aurelia Neck. I work as a legal advisor at MME. MME is a law firm with a strong focus on new technologies and fintech companies.
So we started with the initiative 40 DLT about a year ago, and the trigger point was the new DLT law, which went partially into force at the beginning of this year. So with 40 DLT, we want to help citizens leverage the full potential of the distributed ledger technology in order to enable everyone to create, transfer, and store value and rights digitally. And therefore, we want to develop the technical but also the legal standards to establish the needed digital infrastructure.
So all of the members of our initiative have jobs and generally work more than 100%. So bringing together all those people in certain time slots is actually quite challenging for a project manager. On the other hand, as you might know, it is sometimes difficult to also bring techies and legals together because both of those professions have very specific terms they use, and sometimes they just don't talk about, or even when they talk about the same thing, they just mean something different. And that has been a challenge. On the other hand, that makes the whole project especially interesting. And I think what we achieved is absolutely great, because though everybody had limited time, we are just about to publish our white paper and have produced some very nice movies which explain in very simple terms to the citizens of Switzerland how they can actually make best use of DLT technology. We already have a bunch of very motivated people who are experts in their fields. However, we would be very happy to have some more diversity, some young people, great brains, and probably also some female colleagues, because I'm the only one till now. Just anyone who is really willing to contribute, not just talk about it, but really sit down and work on it.
If you want to join us and shape Switzerland's digital future, you can find our contact details under www.4t-dlt.ch, and we are very much looking forward to hearing from you.
So, and don't forget, if you have any general questions, you can always comment those in the chat, and my colleague Melanie will respond to it. I'm sure you are already quite busy commenting on it. So we are now going to come to our third project within that category, and it's called Policy Kitchen. I really love the idea about Policy Kitchen. We do have big global challenges right now. Let's think about the current pandemic, which we've all went through and are going through all the time, or even the climate challenge. And we do have different experts all around the world in different fields, be it NGOs, think tanks, university experts, or just experts working on different solutions. And the idea from Policy Kitchen is to bring all those experts together, or as many as possible, so that they can work on one solution together or exchange their ideas and maybe help each other to find the better solution. And as we heard a couple of times today, collaboration and cooperation is the key again. So let's take a look at it.
Policy Kitchen is
inspiring.
In one word.
Complex.
Creative, I'd say, yeah.
Encouraging.
Collaborative.
a more inclusive, participatory approach to policy making. We created Policy Kitchen because we felt that foreign policy and international affairs is usually done in very exclusive circles. Policy Kitchen allows us to draw together a very diverse crowd to collaboratively brainstorm solutions for the biggest challenges of our time.
Policy Kitchen also has the ambition to be a place where people can meet that live in different places across the world and can work on the same issues from different perspectives and different national contexts. In this COVID-19 world, it becomes even more relevant than it was when we started it.
Usually we start with a challenge, question, a problem to be solved. We then invite people from different backgrounds and perspectives to come together, mostly in workshops, physical or virtual, to brainstorm and go through a creative process to then come up with innovative solutions that we then propose to decision makers to take seriously.
For people like me who've been working on gender equality for a long time, I needed an open door to some fresh thinking. Hearing diplomats and academics speaking as they might not in a formal intergovernmental organisation setting was a real aid for me.
So my name is Jonas Nakons. I used to be senior project manager for the Policy Kitchen project. I brought this in about 3 years ago before handing over to Edu.
I'm now the project lead of Policy Kitchen. I just took over Jonas, the project a couple of months ago, and overall for us, my role is digital innovation manager.
It's basically an open ideation platform with a whole methodology behind getting people to brainstorm solutions for policy problems like, you know, global warming, migration, environmental crisis, things like that. The project Policy Kitchen formally started in 2018. We started just developing the tool, the technical parts. We started out with a pilot project on biodiversity protection together with German partners. Since then, in those 2.5 years, we've done a whole series of different challenges and activities, launching 7 different publications. Now with the handover to Edu, we look into a bright future with much more to come, and we plan to focus more on future foresighting processes and not just on solving challenges of today.
One challenge is scalability, right? So our next step in research is to try to build user interfaces using artificial intelligence that can help us break down the complexity of the topics. The other challenge is, as always, like inclusiveness, right? We want also to go a bit further than academic and professional circles. We want all the just regular citizens to be able to engage and provide their ideas to solve complex problems. For the future, we like to focus on a strong community within Policy Kitchen around thematic areas where people can connect with others that have similar interests. And at the same time, we want to pursue the development of participatory foresight processes. We think there is a huge need to break the short-termism of the present, the current political debate, build foresight muscle within the population, but also within policymakers, within all the people active in the policy space?
I think for the participatory foresight, we need, again, funding and tech talent. For carrying on the work that we do normally, we need super motivated, super capable young volunteers that we have in our network already, but we want more of them to do this work together with us. They can reach us very easily either through forus.ch or policykitchen.com.
Currently, I want to remind you that you're able to vote, and don't forget that you can vote for your favorite project. You do have time now, but also in the end. I just wanted to remind you that the winner will receive 5,000 Swiss francs for their own project. Let's come to the fourth project within that category, which is called, in short, SDEA. And the next project is a perfect example how you can combine a sustainable idea with technology. The project is called Swiss Data Center Efficiency Label, and the rapid growth of the Internet of Things, of 5G, and of all the things we are seeing on the Internet causes that there's a lot of data transfer and thereby also a higher energy consumption. And this is a problem, but we're obviously not going to stop the technological process, and we don't want to, but we do need to find a solution in order to create a sustainable future. And that is what SDEA is about, and we're going to take a look at it right now.
My name is Babak Falsafi. I'm the president of SDEA, the Swiss Data Center Efficiency Association. I'm also the founding director of EcoCloud at EPFL and a professor of computer science at EPFL.
So my name is Anthony Palmieri. I'm basically Chief Business Innovation Officer at Hewlett-Packard Enterprise in Switzerland.
So there is a growth in demand for IT, and data centers are the foundation of global IT services. Building more data centers means more electrical consumption, more emissions in the operation of data centers, also more emissions in the fabrication of data centers. There are standards for efficiency, and there are also labels for emission out there. Unfortunately, these efficiency standards only look at electricity consumption and then what fraction of it goes into housing. What we're looking at are a number of pillars that affect efficiency. For example, utilization of the IT components, technology excellence, and also heat recycling.
And we don't want to be in wishful thinking, but in concrete actions. This label is a concrete action to basically show what should be, I would say, the next IT world with more sustainability, greener, and more respectful for the earth. So it's basically not only about creating a label, but it's more like a concrete action for hopefully decarbonize the data centers.
So we're working on a platform for offering the label. We're working on communication, and we're trying to reach out to customers. The goal, again, in the short term, is to cover Switzerland and then eventually go to neighboring countries. But we have an index and a label that's evolving. So we're working on evolution of the label as well. This year, we've now, as of January, launched a certification, and we're in the process of certifying the HP Center in Geneva. And we have other customers that we're in touch with who are starting their certification this year, as well as customers even outside Switzerland, including Sweden and France.
The first challenge is really to to make it really understandable and to understand what is the seriousness behind this with all these institutions, make it really, I would say, tangible in the end for the customer. So these are the main challenges. But after first conversation, I mean, it's okay. And now it's about replicating this to other customers.
We're looking for partnership with other organizations that are interested in improving energy efficiency and emissions in data centers. And we're always reaching out to potential customers in Switzerland or abroad. You can go to our website and all the information is available there, or just send an email to info@sdea.ch.
The next project you're going to look at is called Privacy Icons, and it's a project Stephanie and Guillaume directly told me about when we first got in touch. And Privacy Icons is something where I thought right away, wow, that's very useful, because we all know the situation when we download a new app or register on a website, and all of a sudden you have to sign a privacy declaration. And if you just put that tick or you click on it, you're going to see that the privacy declaration is very long. And let's be honest, whoever wants to read that privacy declaration? And Privacy Icons tries to make that way easier, so you can just check out icons and you do have an idea what's behind the privacy declaration. And I think it's a very useful idea, and I'm curious to get a closer look at it, or to take a closer look at it.
This is Maya. Maya wants to order a birthday present for her best friend today. She has designed a photo book of experiences they enjoyed together and wants to have it printed using an online service. When she puts the photo book into the shopping cart, she notices the privacy statement. Since the photographs are personal, Maya wants to take a closer look at it. She realizes quickly that the document is an almost endless jungle of legal phrases and technical explanations. It confuses her rather than that it makes her feel informed. We think there are better approaches to privacy statements. The new privacy icons give customers a general understanding of which of their data is used for what purposes quickly and easily. And because multiple service providers use the same icons, customers can judge the way their data is used and compare it between companies. The easy-to-understand privacy icons supplement conventional privacy statements and provide additional transparency regarding data privacy. Maya can finally use her time for more important things. Learn more at www.privacy-icons.ch.
My name is Matthias Glatter. I'm the data protection officer at Migros, and I was part of the working group that developed the privacy icons. And now I'm happy to serve as the co-president of the association we founded to launch the privacy icons together with Juliette.
So my name is Juliette, as you said. I work for Swisscom as a senior counsel in a team called Data Governance. I've been very happy to be involved in this innovative project developing privacy icons.
We'd like to compare the privacy icons to traffic signs. And of course, traffic signs are those very simple visual signs or visual indicators that have a very clear meaning. It says you cannot overtake here, the speed limit is 100 there, and we try to achieve the same with privacy icons so that people can, at one glance, understand how a company is processing their data. So they can see without having to dig into lengthy privacy statements, is the company using my data for marketing purposes? Or is that company using my health data? Are they selling my data?
The first companies who launched the icons were SBB, who's an infrastructure provider, right? You have Credit Suisse as a bank, you have Migros as a major retailer, and you have Swisscom as a telecommunications provider. So we're all service providers who have very different focuses and very different customers. However, we all concluded that the privacy icons are very helpful and a great instrument to communicate our data processing.
One of the main challenges was to get all the lawyers at the table agree on a set of icons and a meaning attached to the icons. So that was certainly one of the biggest challenges. And another challenge was, of course, to get companies and well-known companies to participate in the initiative and to commit to using the privacy icons from day one. One of the main learnings was certainly that it needs time. It needs time to discuss the things. It needs time to agree on the meaning of the icons. It also takes time to convince people to participate that actually use the icons.
What we want to achieve in future is that the privacy icons can be established as a standard and serve the purpose of increasing transparency in data processing. This can only work if a significant number of companies participate. And so please reach out to us if you're motivated and have any questions.
And we're now coming to the last project, last but not least, which is called Swiss Autonomous Valley. And when I heard the title of the project, I directly thought about Silicon Valley. And somehow this project is taking the spirit from Silicon Valley to Switzerland, the spirit of innovation and cooperation. And the idea is to be the leading initiative for autonomous systems worldwide. So if you do want to develop a new drone, for example, you do need a testing location, and you also need a competitive market in order to keep on developing your project. And this is what Swiss Autonomous Valley is about, and I'm very curious to see more right now.
In the near future, autonomous systems, especially autonomous mobile robots, will help us in professional life, but also at home.
Autonome Systeme haben eine ganz große Zukunft. Ich würde sogar sagen, das ist die nächste Technologiewelle. Das ist ein ganz grosses Potenzial, das neue Geschäftsmodelle wird ermöglichen, die wir heute noch gar nicht kennen.
Autonome Systeme werden in Zukunft an Relevanz gewinnen. Deshalb testet die Schweizerische Post Technologien und Use Cases, um für die Zukunft fit zu sein.
Das bekannteste Projekt sind die Drohnen. Dort setzen wir diese ein, um Blutproben von A nach B, in einem Fall in Lugano, im anderen in Zürich, zu transportieren. Sie ist nicht abhängig vom Verkehr, wir fliegen Luftlinie und dadurch kann ein massiver Gewinn an Zeit, an Transportzeit erzielt werden.
Hexagons Vision ist es, eine autonome Zukunft zu ermöglichen. Wir stellen Technologien zur Verfügung, sogenannte Enabling Technologies, Connectivity, Edge- und Cloud Computing Plattformen. Und das ist vor allem die Smart Digital Reality.
Das Ziel dieser Aufnahme heute ist, ein möglichst detailliert getreues 3D-Modell vom ETH Campus aufzunehmen. Mit verschiedensten Leica Reality Capture Sensoren, ein Sensor auf einem Auto, dann ein Backpack, also ein Rucksack und auch ein Handheldscanner neben den Aufnahmen aus der Luft.
Aus den gewonnenen Daten werden wir jetzt einen Digital Twin von der ETH Hönckenberg erstellen. Zusammen mit Startups wird es so möglich sein, innerhalb dieser 3D-Welt komplexe autonome Cases zu testen. So wird es in Zukunft beispielsweise möglich sein, dass bei einem medizinischen Notfall eine Drohne einen Defibrillator bringt oder dass ein Sandwich direkt in einen Hörsaal geliefert wird.
Wir waren sofort von der Idee dieses Autonomous Valley überzeugt, weil wir auch strategisch und mit unserer Technologie einen sehr guten Fit sehen.
This is a great vision. I think Switzerland can contribute. We are also very strong already at universities in the field of autonomous systems, but we have also a lot of spin-offs.
Die autonomen Systeme in der Schweiz vorantreiben, indem wir Testgebiete, Testszenarien gemeinsam entwickeln und so zusammen mit dem Regulator das Umfeld schaffen können, um in Zukunft erfolgreich zu sein.
Ich glaube, dass wir eben alle Kompetenzen hier haben, um hier einen Punkt machen, einen Wettbewerbsvorteil erarbeiten. Und das Autonomous Valley ist eigentlich die Organisation, die alle diese Partner zusammenbringt, um das Thema mit Kraft vorwärts zu treiben.
My name is Urs. I'm responsible for the Swiss Autonomous Valley, an association initiated out of a Digital Switzerland LEAP project with the purpose to make sure that Switzerland remains a leading place for autonomous systems in the world. So basically, the technology is here and is able to execute autonomous missions. So like delivery robots, drones. So this is all already existing. The big challenge is to make sure that those systems, or to prove that those systems are safe. We would like to accelerate the whole development process in Switzerland with 3 layers. Layer 1 is giving access to physical test locations where developers of autonomous systems can test their systems together with, for example, potential customers. Second, we are developing a digital twin, so a virtual space where developers can test autonomous missions. And through that, we believe that it should be possible to get a faster approval based on regulation scenarios that we would like to define together with the government. So at the moment, we are developing this virtual space. We will digitalize the Hunkerberg, and there it should be possible to have a proof of concept by beginning of July. So as you can think, we have quite a lot of different challenges that we have to solve. For example, the huge data load is very challenging. To create out of this virtual environment, we have to learn and take it day by day. What I'm very proud of is that already we can see that there's a demand in the industry. So for example, we are in contact with an energy company, and they have the challenge that they need to find autonomous systems that are able to work in dangerous places. And for that, a digital twin would be very helpful. So we're super happy to welcome people who are just curious about learning more about the potential of autonomous systems, developers, researchers. Please contact me directly via swissautonomous.ch. I'm super happy to answer your questions, to sit together, to have a chat and learn more about each other.
So here we go. That was already the second category. And now it's your part. If you didn't vote yet, you still have some time to vote. And which was your favorite project? Whom do you want to support? It's a tough choice, but it would be great if you participate. And we will tell you the result after our third category, which we are calling the Inspirers. So you still have some minutes to choose, and it would be great if you use them. We're now coming to the Inspirers, where we want to introduce you to one particular project. And I can promise you that after this category, you might have a different idea how the internet could be used. At least that was, for me, the idea when I talked to Andreas Fuhrer. I will introduce you to the project called Mobilité, which is led by Andreas Fuhrer, Head of Digitalization from SBB AG Informatics. And we will learn more about this project from him. But let me try to give you a very brief introduction to Mobilité and to tell you what it is about. It's not just another platform which is connecting mobility, such as, for example, car sharing or bike rides, but the idea is to create an internet of mobility. So you want to connect the different infrastructures which you already have in the mobility sector. I'm not 100% sure whether I explained it correctly, but that's why Andreas Fuhrer will join us right now. You could do the virtual clap or welcoming emoji again in the chat if you want to. Thank you, Andreas, for joining us today from Tessin, from your holiday, and taking that time to talk with us today. Did I explain Mobilité correctly, or what did I miss?
Thank you very much. Yes, you explained it 100% correctly. You even said it's not a platform. We didn't want a platform in the middle. The idea was to create a digital ecosystem of mobility, not a winner taking all. We all realized that the platform paradigm is good for big techs, but it's not good for Switzerland or for Europe. So we need a decentralized approach. That's where the internet is strong, by linking the actors.
Okay, I'm glad I explained it correctly. So, I promised in the beginning that we will have a different perception how we could use the internet. Could you give us some insights about it? Maybe how do you perceive the internet? How should it be used? And Mobilité could be a good example for it.
Yes, especially in the field of mobility. I would go in this field only, but it's a very important field in our everyday life. So what we see is that multimodal mobility, despite its enormous need for a sustainable life, multimodal mobility does not really get off the ground for years now. And one reason is that it's a hassle that to connect mobility modes, that we don't really have a digital ecosystem of mobility. And that's where the project Switzerland started. We wanted to ignite the idea of an open digital infrastructure that makes it easy to connect different mobility services, for example, public transportation, car sharing, taxis, using parking lots before using public transportation, and so on. So just imagine every mobility service can plug into this internet of mobility, and so becomes searchable, becomes bookable, and most important, becomes usable by the end user platforms. The end user platforms only have to settle a commercial agreement, but digitally it's plug and play between taxis, public transportation, and so on and so on. That was the vision of ARC Mobility.
I see, but maybe you could elaborate more on your idea of the internet, how we actually use it now, and what potential do you see? Maybe you can elaborate on that, because when we talked beforehand, I thought your perspective was very interesting about that new way to use the internet.
Well, today the internet is considered as a playground for users, of course, like you and me, sending emails and chatting over the internet, and for the commercial actors. And it's not that much used for public reasons or for the whole of society, except from some e-government applications and so on. And what we can do in the field of mobility is use it really as a field of, or as a means of public interest for connecting different mobility means, not for commercial reasons. That are platforms, they have commercial reasons, mobility service providers have commercial reasons, but to make the sum of all more for society than single platforms combating against each other.
Thank you. And I'm sure if we keep that public interest in mind, we can think about a lot of different use cases. But what has, for example, Digital Switzerland contributed to ARC Mobilité?
Well, Digital Switzerland had a crucial role in the acceptance of the concept of digital infrastructures, especially the SDEA working groups, the Swiss Digital Infrastructure Working Group within Digital Switzerland, developed a common picture of a digital ecosystem, including this layer of open, non-commercial enabling services and, or let's say, the digital infrastructures, like the digital infrastructure for mobility. So it was at Digital Switzerland where we began to speak of the same, where all came together, and an idea of the future became the ignition of a pilot project.
Okay, interesting. And what did the pandemic change for your project, or did it change anything at all?
Well, as a pilot project, you can't just build a digital infrastructure. It's invisible, so you need something to show. And at the beginning, it was quite easy. Initially, we wanted to make it visible via Mobility as a Service application, traditional one, where you can use different modes of transportation in the pilot area, which is between Lausanne and Geneva. But when the pandemic came, it just wasn't the right time to go to the end user and say, share your cars, use multimodal mobility. So we had to change in this moment the strategy. In hindsight, this was a big chance, a big win also, because we discovered home office as a kind of mobility mode. It's the mode of not being mobile. probably the noblest mode of all because it's the most sustainable one. So together with enterprises in the area, we developed the approach of a mobility budget rewarding sustainable mobility behavior, including staying at home as I said, the third mobility mode.
Well, before the pandemic, who would have thought about home as a mobility mode? I think probably nobody. What is the current status? What are the current developments? Maybe you can update us about that, because the project is already, I could say, in a very in a mode where you already achieved a lot.
Yes, we built up, my colleagues built up a living environment, a playground for transport operators. Around 20 of these transport operators, from public transportation over taxis sharing, also several mobility as a service providers, integrated the standard plugin to this living environment, and now are able to experiment with each other with combining mobility modes. But most important is, meanwhile, the topic became a national strategy. The Confederation is preparing a national data infrastructure for mobility, which is an assignment of the Bundesrat now. So if the main goal of our project was igniting an idea, this was obviously successful, our contribution to this. It's no longer an initiation project, but the national strategy. And we could close, after the initiation phase, the project as a standalone project. And now the heritage is at the disposal of the following activities.
Okay, and I would also like to know, as a last question, what were your major learnings, or what were the biggest challenges? Maybe you can share that with us.
Well, it's the biggest learning is probably not a new one. It's that it's difficult to shape the future with today's thinking. We had many misunderstandings at the beginning. Everybody thought we're going to building another platform which is a little bit more neutral or a little bit more service public, but just a platform. This wasn't the idea. The thinking of today is in platforms. What was important is to establish a thinking in a decentralized way, like the internet is working, of bringing the actors directly together by using standard APIs that were furnished by the project. I remember a little bit when I wanted many years ago to explain to my mother what the internet is, because she has the thinking of today, as we all have. She couldn't imagine what the internet could be, because it's abstract also. And we were at the beginning at the very same point with digital infrastructures, but like we are all using the internet and have an understanding what it is today, I'm very confident that in the future it will be the same with digital infrastructures as the new kind of using the internet, not in a directly commercial way, but for enabling, of course, commercial use, but also in enabling bringing everybody together, because that makes, as I said, the sum of all more than all the components are.
Thank you so much, Andreas. So that means we need to think ahead in order to plan the future. And I like the story which you mentioned from your mother. And I'm sure we can all definitely feel what you were mentioning. Enjoy your time in Tessin. Thank you so much for joining us tonight and for being an inspiration for our audience. And take care. And we are now coming to the part you all might have been waiting for. We are coming to the winners announcement, but I don't want to do it on my own. So I'm welcoming our party crew right now on stage, Stephanie Tauber Gomez and Guillaume Gabus. What did you bring here on stage? What is that?
This is actually a confetti bomb.
Yeah.
Hope we know how to use it.
Yeah, well, see, I'm not the best user of this one, so
just don't put it in my direction. Just put it in front. And as I can see on the screen here, we do have the result who actually won. Let's start a countdown together, okay? 5, 4, 3,
2,
1. Woo! Privacy Icons won! Congratulations. Privacy Icons won. That is great. And we are now going to talk to the guys from Privacy Icons, to actually not guys, to Juliette and to Matthias, who will join us via Skype or Zoom. And I hope we're going to see them right away. Thank you for the confetti bomb that created the whole atmosphere we just needed. I can see Juliette. Thank you so much for joining us. Congratulations. Can you hear us already?
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you very much. Well, great. We're a little bit overwhelmed or embarrassed because of all of the success of the positive feedback we receive from you every time we're allowed to present our project. But great success, I'd say. Very happy.
Absolutely. So what are you going to do with the money? What are the next steps you're taking with Privacy Icons?
Actually, that's a very welcome contribution to our budget. The budget is extremely low since it isn't our intention at all to make money, but to only use the funds that are necessary for the development of the project. However, since we launched the icons in December, already a number of requests have reached us regarding additional icons or suggestions for improvements. And of course, if we work with our graphics partner, this costs some money, and I'm sure we will be able to invest the 5,000 francs for that very well.
What is the next icon you're going to develop? Maybe you can share it with us.
Honestly, I think I know. It will be, I think what's been asked for most is to have an icon for non-personalized processing of data.
Okay, great. So you might have followed the live stream. What was your biggest learning or inspiration? That's a mean question, but if you followed it, I would be interested to know.
I think it's the same for all of us. Just don't give up. And everything takes time and is challenging, and we all have jobs that are tiring and time consuming. But I've only heard great ideas today, so stick to your guns and continue and keep inspiring everyone else.
That's great. And I have just one last question, and then thank you very much. I wanted to know from you, what keeps you going during the pandemic? How do you keep on rocking? Do you have a secret?
Oh. One question I can't answer. Stay positive, I guess, is the only thing I can say.
Okay. Thank you so much, Julia. Take care, and congratulations again also from Stephanie.
Yeah, congratulations.
Yes, congrats. Thank you.
That was great. And we're now coming to an end already. That was it. I hope you learned a lot. I hope you were inspired. And I hope you also understood how crucial collaboration is in general in order to realize digital and sustainable and innovative projects. Guillaume and Stephanie, you're also here on stage to say thank you. To whom do you want to say thank you?
So I want to start to say thank you to the LEAP team, mainly Melanie, which is behind the cameras, and also Jan, which is at home. But also to the whole Digital Switzerland team for the support, especially also to Sophie for the whole communication and social media. She's also behind the camera. And I want also to thank all the LEAP projects, the project leaders which worked with us to make these amazing interviews and these amazing clips. And last but not least, from my side, I also want to thank our departing president, Ivo Fuhrer. It was amazing to learn always from his experience, and I never had such an approachable president, and I hope also the next one would be the same thing.
Yeah. And lastly, we'd like to thank as well our LEAP committee for the ongoing support and trust. And on that note, we're already excited to soon be working with such an innovation thought leader like Sasha Zand.
Thank you very much to you two as well for organizing the event. I think that's also very important to mention. So right now, if you want to get in touch with anyone from the project, if you want to get in touch with LEAP, you do find a mouse on the website. And if you click on it, you do have a contact form right behind it where you could write a message, for example. Or you could also just get in touch with Stephanie or Guillaume, and they are happy to respond to all of your questions at any time. Thank you for being a part of this event today, and we can't wait to keep on rocking together, to keep on creating new innovative projects, and it would be great if you're part of the next workshop or the next LEAP event. Please take care of yourself and keep on rocking even during the pandemic, and maybe the next event could be here in person again. Stay safe, stay healthy, and goodbye.
Bye.
Bye guys. Perfect.